I want to talk about Mass Effect Andromeda. I know that it's been talked to death, but I really haven't had an opportunity to talk about it, and it's a game that was a serious letdown, to say the least. I bought into the hype. I bought into the expectations that were set by Bioware for, as far as I'm concerned, their premier game. And never expected to happen what happened. So, but I want to talk about things that should never have happened. Things that should never happen, but seem to happen when big corporations get involved in creative, artistic content and things that people tend to really like. First, I'd like to say that it's really sad how people have been conned by the hype for this game. I mean, I really wanted Mass Effect Andromeda to be a great game. I really emotionally connected with the Mass Effect trilogy. I really liked it. I played both male and female protagonists, and I loved it equally. The story, the whole way it was presented. I mean, okay, personally, I didn't find the ending of Mass Effect 3 as bad as people made it out to be. I didn't think it was great. But just the overall quality meant that I could overlook things. But there's nothing I could overlook in Mass Effect Andromeda. Really, nothing I could really overlook. I mean, I played the game. I platinumed it. I platinumed every single Mass Effect game now. But I didn't. I platinumed Mass Effect Andromeda because I wanted to give it a chance. I know that a lot of people seem to really like it, but there's no comparison. It's really not a Mass Effect game. It's a Mass Effect letdown. But I already knew that, even though I had bought into the hype. I could see the parts were missing. There's no real backstory, no effort to really flesh out the characters. And I found that the whole jokey tone of the story and the dialogue was just kind of like spitting on me as a consumer and as someone that really liked the trilogy. And I still can't believe that there are people that think that Mass Effect Andromeda is a great game. But that's what happens when you hype. Some people are completely susceptible to that, and I'm sure there's people that just haven't really barely scratched the surface of the trilogy. And I recommend for those people that you go back and play Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, or play them if you haven't, because they are the standard for the series. And it's what people should be aiming for when they're making a Mass Effect game. Now, I don't hold the Montreal B team completely responsible for what happened. Ultimately, it's EA and their higher ups and the people that are responsible for managing it to not give them enough resources to put the right people on this project. And for them basically lying to us because they know that they've been able to psychologically manipulate people into thinking that this is a great game. It's just not. The bugs, really, the game broke for me everywhere. And the fact that they're not doing any fixes, but they were still, I mean, who's going to buy the game now, right? But it's the same thing with Dragon Age Inquisition. There are bugs and problems in that game, particularly in the multiplayer, and hacks, people hacking the game, and BioWare EA just like writing it off, like we're not touching it anymore, but they're still selling the game as new. How can you trust someone like that? How can you trust someone like that? And I know it's not a someone, it's a corporation, it's shareholders. If you're a shareholder in EA, you should be ashamed of yourself. It's embarrassing for you. You know, It's pitiful. I mean, EA has great franchises. They've got great IPs, but they don't respect them. They just don't. I mean, I love Mirror's Edge too. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, when I picked it up, and I really liked that game, but you could tell the story was just kind of tacked on. And as an adult consumer of games with a taste for literature quality content, that's why I fell in love with Mass Effect. But the storyline is almost less rewarding than Mirror's Edge story, which is pretty flat. There's great characters, don't get me wrong. Like, Dogen is great, but... And I know, I'm talking about Mass Effect Andromeda, so I don't want to go off to ramble here too much, but, they at least had some character development. I really kind of liked some of the characters. The story plotline was shite, but you could tell there was some effort. But with Mass Effect Andromeda, it was just one big joke. It was one big joke. I mean, there's tiny glimmers of hope in some of the characters in Mass Effect Andromeda, but characters like PB, like, first, that name, there's just so much that yells cheesy Ghostbusters female cast kind of bad humor. That it's like, it makes me want to throw up, and somehow I got through it, but terrible. That's not even talking about the animations. The animation work with Mass Effect Andromeda, I know a lot has been covered elsewhere, so I really don't want to kind of rehash stuff, because you can find it on other channels everywhere, I'm sure. But it's just, for me personally, major letdown. Having seen the concept art and the original artwork that they had done for the original engine before EA trashed it after 3 years of work or so, I love the original work. That was amazing. That's what I was expecting. But they should have canceled the game, or they should have just said, okay, we're taking another 2-3 years in the production, and we're going to do this right. But people, obviously, in power, like Mike Gamble or whoever, making these decisions to push it through, it's bullshit. In my opinion, he should be fired. He's terrible. Terrible, Aaron Flynn, sorry, dude. Disappointment. Major disappointment. You should not be proud of yourself. And Casey Hudson's coming back in. I don't know what to think, honestly. I don't know. I don't know what to think. But anyway, the bugs in Mass Effect Andromeda, my game crashed, froze up, and things just aren't fixed. Even with multiplayer. I went to multiplayer first because I knew there were problems with Mass Effect Andromeda. Oopsie. I knew there were problems with Mass Effect Andromeda, so I played the multiplayer. But even the multiplayer, that shouldn't have had any problems with their reward systems. It should have been really simple to go over and proofread, proof check, quality control. Wasn't there. I think I hit the biotic gold reward, and it was bugged. It gave me the wrong reward. It wouldn't work, and I'm just like, I just stopped playing. And I put Mass Effect Andromeda down for a month. I'm just like, screw this, not worth it. Animations, robots, ridiculous. Character development, just not there. Not there. Just no real work done on that. I think I already covered that. The plot, great idea. Mass Effect Andromeda. The general premise is pretty good. They just had crap storytelling. And really a lot of running around for nothing. Like the side quests, they could have been interesting and kind of expect some of that, but it's not. The music was a letdown. The music, Mass Effect Andromeda soundtrack, I wouldn't waste my money on that in any format. I wouldn't even download it for free. I'm not interested. I like kind of the ideas, but they were all taken from elsewhere. Ideas from Mirror's Edge Catalyst soundtrack sound like to me, especially that was playing in the multiplayer, kind of like the atmospherics of it, but never really identified itself as anything that I should give a crap about. So, I've spent money. I own the box set of the original trilogy. I gave my money to BioWare for that because it was worth it. But these parts, missing parts, they're not worth, what they did give us wasn't worth any adoration or extra time of mine or my money to invest in it. They basically trashed Mass Effect for Anthem, and not many people are going to give Anthem a chance. They should have known this, but they're a corporation. They only think short term. No, not cool. The backstory, I have the tomes, the backstory comics from Dark Horse for Mass Effect original trilogy, and they're quite good. I mean, it's not like, high-end whatever art that I would spend like thousands of dollars on, but they're comic books. But they had the good story, the character development. It actually added to the depth of the trilogy, and we had nothing like that. That wouldn't have saved Mass Effect Andromeda anyway, but there wasn't there. Like, it just wasn't there. And things like releasing novels, written books, they should have had that planned out and released the novels 6 months before the game released. But that would have been assuming that the game's literature quality would be at the same standard of a good writer. And they just were after the money, and they're still trying to push it. They're pushing books now. They're pushing snowboards and really tacky PB costumes, and I don't know who's buying that stuff, but I feel really bad for the people that are, because they're brainwashed. They can't compare, quality. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is there. I don't get it. But, all that hype. They did a kind of good job with the hype, but they spent a lot of time, too much time on the hype, knowing that they didn't put the time into the final product, and that they wouldn't even fix the problems. They disbanded Montreal before even the game stopped selling. That's just an insult to consumers. No DLC. They could have had an opportunity with the DLC to do a I'm really sorry kind of thing for the people that love Mass Effect. They could have just put a new studio together, made up of the A team people, and hired really good developers, really good musical talent, and put something that's what we expect together for the fans. And they can't even do that. They just don't care. So why should I care? Why should I care about anything moving forward from EA BioWare? I don't give a shit. I just don't care. The future of Mass Effect, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a great universe. It's a really great universe. And there's a lot of potential for a lot of great stories. And I love the just the whole, all the work, the lore that's been put into it. It's terrible, They need to, I don't know who they is. Ideally, EA goes out of business and BioWare goes back to its roots and actually gives a crap about people that are buying their games. That's really the only good thing that can happen here. because I don't see anything good coming out of EA Bioware. It's just a bunch of crap, blah blah blah, and people saying they're gonna do crap, and it's just, you know, revolving doors, people wondering what's going on, no information. So I don't know. Why should I give a crap about entertainment products? Why is it important to me? Well, you know, my life isn't so great. I mean, it could be better. I'm working on that, but it's nice to have good escapism. And Mass Effect really gave me something to care about, that gave me a good distraction. And I really couldn't complain. I mean, I really, even the DLCs with the original trilogy were pretty good. You know, it was super nice. And it's just really depressing to see that thrown away. I'm not sure if I have anything else to add. You know, I think I've pretty much covered the important parts. I'm not going to get in. I'm not going to get into it. I know there's a lot of good future potential with the universe, with the franchise, and you know, I just don't have a lot of hope